For the sake of the communication, I'm going to skip the production value and get to the point. For this playlist, this discussion about the Bible and depression, I want you to understand that I'm not just some preacher who's coming to talk to you and do whatever and, just come and give you scripture, run around and just, preach and do whatever. No, I'm a person who dealt with depression, dealt with the issue of sitting in the darkness for like an hour at a time, who dealt with, that time where you look at your hands and you're just like, what? And you're just like, why? And you're just like, how and where? I'm a person who sat in the bathroom, just like this one right here. I sat in the bathroom for an hour and just looked at black. Like there's a light here for the sake of looking at my face. But imagine just sitting in here in this bathroom for an hour after a heartbreak, after probably the second or third or fourth heartbreak in a relationship, and letting that person give you value, letting that person define you and who you are. This is what we're discussing in some of the longer videos, but I let those people tell me who I am, and I relied on their promises to both give me hope and give me identity. The promise that they were going to be my future wife or whatever, the identity that I was given by being, found attractive and found a good man by them, were things that I was clinging on to. So I know what depression feels like. I also know what it feels like not only to sit in a bathroom in pure darkness, but to walk outside on my porch. Follow me. We're going to walk outside on the porch where it doesn't even look like it was at my friend's place in 2020, right? This was about 8 months after the event that I'm going to discuss with you guys. But this is the closest I have to that porch right now in 2020, right? I had, been in what was almost a relationship. This wasn't even an actual relationship. Almost a relationship between me and another person. This person disappears from my life. And like I said, my entire identity, my entire hope, all that happiness I was clinging on to was hoping on the fact that I might one day have a future wife, family, kids, household. And it was all clinging on to the fact that this person was giving me that hope. And when that person vanished, disappeared, didn't give me an explanation, never responded to any single messages ever again, they took that hope with them. And this is why I'm emphasizing the importance of the relationship with God, not with man so much so, and making sure this is there first before this comes there. Because when you cling on to that person, I didn't even give you the imagery yet. When you cling on to that person and you let them tell you who you are, and you run with that in your heart, that person has all the power in the world to just take everything that you thought you were, put it right here, and kick a field goal, and that football goes into the trenches. The reason why I walked out on my porch is because, in December of the year before that, we had a wonderful date, a wonderful 2 dates actually. And then here comes next year, the person disappears. And, I'm depressed throughout the entirety of the year. I don't know who I am. I struggle for who I am. I struggle for who, and people would see me struggle in this year and they didn't even recognize it. But at around August of the next year, which is 8 months into 2020, there were times when I would go out to the porch of my friend's apartment because I was living there in between apartments, and I would go out there and I would try desperately to get the pain out, to cry, to get the tears out of my face. And it was not coming. It was not there. I had cried in the past. I cried the year before when my cat died in 2019. 2020, here we are. I'm on a porch. I'm leaning on the wooden benches and whatnot, or the wooden armrests. I can't get the tears out of my eyes because of how hurt I am that a person I clung on to so deep would let me be in that state, right? It wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault that I was so depressed. I let her choose, or I let her have that power. I chose to give her that power to define who I was. Now, here's the issue, is if I just say, oh, it's in me, I next week can say I'm great because I'm an athlete. And then here comes the better athlete. And then here goes that identity. It's gone again. And I'm confused for another 8 months, struggling for who I am, looking for something to jump onto. And here's the thing, is when I got out of that state of complete and total depression, it was still clinging on to the identity of how great I was. I returned back to that old vomit. And then the next person I dated gave me identity again. And then I realized the way I'm going about these relationships is part of the problem. The way I am addressing these people as, the ones who have authority over my identity is the problem. Those people out there They aren't God. Stop treating them like it. That's the message. It's the message to the old me, and it could help the old you. Because the old you may be somebody, or I should say you may be somebody who's very much clung on to past relationships and it ripped your heart up. You may be somebody who clung on to the words of your mother or your father and it ripped your heart in half. We have to learn to obey God rather than man, and to give his words authority over our life rather than man. Because God has some things to say about us that man has never said. And when we accept those things as our identity, rather than accepting what man says is our identity, I can't cling on to those things and hold those. So this was just a quick video to show you guys, I've been through real depressed states too. I have sat there in that bathroom, not that bathroom, but another one, wanting to wonder, or wanting to imagine the world without me in it, imagining what it was like if I just didn't exist, wondering why I existed, wishing I didn't at certain points because of all the times I've gone through heartbreak with people who gave me so much promise and so much hope and so much joy at the temporary time, only to vanish. This has been more than one person. Not everybody who I dated vanished, I'm just going to say that, but the fact that these people did when I clung on to them so desperately killed me inside, even worse than I was already feeling dead inside. Now don't think that I don't understand what you're going through. I understand. That's why these things exist. That's why it's my burden to share you the joy that I now have, the life that has never run out. That vault is constantly full. That cup is constantly running over. That's why this playlist exists. And I want you to pay attention to some of the things that I say, because this is exactly what past Caldwin, depressed Caldwin, was struggling with. This is exactly what past me was ripped apart by. So when I talk about identity and your foundation and who you are when you see yourself in the mirror, please pay attention. All that stuff is important. Have a good day.